Okay, welcome back to my channel. It is the story time again. We're going to read Net Shadow, the Book of Shadows, I call it, but Shadow Syndromes, about the shopper. Something about the shopper. Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole story, just 326, starting at 326. The story starts on 324, but I turned to 326. This is the hidden epidemic, the shadow syndrome. So, while at least in Sandra's memory, her dieting compulsion did not reach the level of addiction, it was close enough. Certainly, she was very uncomfortable with her vomiting, and yet she felt compelled for a time to do it. If Sandra had simply pushed on with her studies, she probably would have fared well enough. But instead, she added a major environmental stressor to her life and to her brain's biochemistry. When she became pregnant shortly after meeting Ron and dropped out of school to devote herself to marriage and motherhood, although she had always loved children, she imagined having 6 of them. She did not fare well in the postpartum period, particularly after the birth of her second child. I went into counseling after I had my second baby because I had what they thought was postpartum depression. And I just couldn't cope with having a second child. I think I had it after the first baby too, but I didn't recognize it. With the first one, I attributed attributed my feelings to how much breastfeeding I was doing. That the baby wanted to be breastfed all the time, so I didn't breastfeed the second time. And the feeling was still there. I knew pretty much immediately something was wrong. The first day I left the hospital, I could feel that emptiness inside. And that first week I was home, I called my doctor and they set me up with a counselor. Under the pressure of new motherhood, Sandra progressed from reward deficiency to full-blown depression, and her feelings of stress were pervasive and severe. She was showing most of the symptoms of an attention deficit as well. Sandra's difficulties with reward deficiency had not abated in the 2 years since her second son's birth. Although she now understands her problem, thus far she has not been able to make much headway against it. My depression lifted. I wasn't taking any drugs at that point, just going to therapy. But it seemed that I hopped around from counselor to counselor. I've seen 2 therapists and 2 psychiatrists in the 2 years since my second child was born. I couldn't find the answers that I was looking for. I couldn't understand why I couldn't cope with the kids. Why I would feel that overwhelming sense of just wanting to run away. I have this overwhelming guilt about why can't I play with my kids? Why don't I want to be around them? And I was looking for someone to help me develop those skills. I would find much more pleasure in going to the store and buying them things than in reading them a story. So I kept seeking people out, therapists and doctors, and it's been more of a chore for me to go once a week than a benefit. I always found with everyone I saw, they'd always say things like, "Oh, how do you feel about being adopted?" I've never had any thoughts on being adopted or any resentment, and I was getting sick of talking about it. They'd hear I was adopted and jump on it, and it was not ringing a bell with me. It wasn't helping. However, her own childhood may be affecting her as an adult. Sandra faces challenges beyond the historical facts of her early years. She must grapple with the facts of her biology as well, and she needs the help of her therapists in doing so. She is highly compulsive. She is driven to clean the house obsessively, or diet obsessively, or to shop obsessively. or whatever it is. Recognizing this quality in herself, she struggles against it. One good thing is I stopped the compulsive cleaning, but now I've gone to the opposite extreme and I can't clean at all. I feel too overwhelmed being in my house and cleaning it, so I'd rather get out of the house. And I'm always trying to get away. I can't find a controlled center. Sandra's problem are worst at home, which is typical of patients with any degree of obsessive compulsive biology. For the obsessive, the confines of hearth and home can be deadly. Obsessives need the distractions of work and the outside world to suppress their compulsive behaviors, a harsh reality that makes full time motherhood challenging in the extreme to any woman with obsessive compulsive tendencies. Not surprisingly, Sandra soon developed a new addictive behavior. Home with kids now, and they're driving me crazy, when in reality, I know shopping is making me happy. Being compelled to do something that feels good but does not make her happy. This is the essence of Sandra's problem. Whatever her genetic makeup, Sandra can surely be sad to suffer from a reward deficiency. She cannot feel good. She is not clinically depressed, although although she might qualify for a diagnosis of chronic mild depression, she simply cannot feel centered, whole, satisfied. She speaks spontaneously of an emptiness inside, and all of her shopping and smoking and running away from home to the remarkable walkways of the beckoning mall is an effort to fill that hollow place inside. And as is probably the case with most who suffer this emptiness within, Sandra is highly obsessive as well as addictive. When I get a thought in my head, I don't let it go. I might run an argument I've had with my husband through my head over and over again. It doesn't stop. Lately, things have been so bad here that I'll think, oh, let's get a puppy. And I'll obsess about getting a puppy when I know I already have a dog and four cats. But I keep thinking about it and how much I want to get a puppy. The toll her obsessive brain takes on her family is immense. Obsession and motherhood are destructive and even catastrophic mix. My kids intrude on my obsession. I'll be thinking, and the kids get in my face, and I have to stop the thought process, and I get angry. Obsession invades the intimacy between spouses and readily as that between parents and children, and Sandra's marriage is precarious. My husband and I have a real hard communication problem right now. He really thinks that I don't do a good job with the kids because of my wanting to be alone with them, of my not wanting to be alone with them. And I'm very demanding of him. I expect him to take over everything when he gets home, while I would prefer to just leave the house and go to the mall. We argue every day. Each of us always wants to be the winner. It's sad because we were best friends, and I know that friendship is still there, and we just kind of split apart. We have to find something to get us back. Obsession, addiction, reward deficiencies are of every stripe. All lock Sandra's inside herself, closing off her felt connection to life and love. Surrounded by family, she is alone. Wow, that's quite interesting. At one time or another in her 30 years of life, Sandra has shown streaks of most of the syndromes on anxiety spectrum. She has been obsessive. She has been compulsive. She has been addictive. She has been unfocused in in the extreme. Although the face she presents to other to her woman friends is that of relaxed and loyal friend, internally she is never at ease. A reality she cannot keep hidden at home. If things don't go exactly as I think they should go, I get upset. And I've always been that way, even as a child. I had to know exactly what was going on, and if something interrupted that, I would get upset. Okay, so that was the first part of that. I thought that one might be interesting to go with that. I'm pretty sure that's quite helpful. Just to know that you're not alone if you think, oh, or your shame or of any parts of this resonate. You're not alone, okay? And that's the beginning of healing. It's just knowing, right? And then you can begin a little internal search or search, you know. All right, that was pretty good. Thank you. Bye.